Hey everyone, what's the crack? Lawrence here with another very exciting first look, first impressions and unboxing of a brand new product from VNM. Those of you who know the channel will know that I absolutely love this handbrake and I love this shifter so much so that I run them on my rig all the time. The machining and craftsmanship of these is absolutely exquisite, and these were day one models. They've improved on these significantly since then. So needless to say, I'm delighted that they've sent me their brand new pedals. Loads of you have been asking about them. Let's unbox them. So like the last time, these products were shipped in amazing speed all the way from Vietnam. I do get them sent directly from Vietnam. There are resellers and I have a list of the resellers in the description below. But VNM, I deal directly with them. These have been sent to me free of charge for the purposes of this review. Let's open this up and have a look in the box here. Right, we've got a fairly typical layout, a couple of pedals here with a USB cable. We've got loads of springs and elastomers here to try out. So let's put those off to the side. What have we got? An extra spring here as well. Not 100% sure if that's for this or if that's for another product. They did mention that they were going to send me some new bits and pieces. So this is all subject to change. Some mounting hardware here, and you can never have enough Allen keys. So there. Let's go for, I mean, we're going to leave the brake to last. That's kind of the de facto standard here. Let's go for this throttle first and let's get this box out of the way. So here's the throttle. The first thing I see is these connections, a little bit like we have on the handbrake. So they're kind of a, I guess, a different connection to your standard kind of RJ11 connection that a lot use, or a USB connection. So they plug into most likely into a control box or something. I'm not sure if it's a separate control box or if it's all integrated. We'll figure all that out. This is interesting at the side here, probably to adjust, okay, it's to adjust the bump stop, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's, as you'd expect, beautifully machined. Little brackets here seem extremely sturdy. This one's a little bit looser than that. These are assembled by hand. We've got some adjustment here, which does require tools to raise and lower this arm. The adjustment there seems relatively limited, but it's quite low. So we're going to see how much actual throttle throw we get on that. The higher we put that, the more resistance there should be. And you can adjust this preload on here as well. At the rear here, you've got the ability to change the angle of the throw of the pedal. So where you often see it here, the whole pedal mechanism actually adjusts here. So as you lower this, the pedal comes back and goes forward. And I'm sure there's probably some bit of adjustment here as well. Well, I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll figure that out. What else have we got in here? We've got our sensor here at the side. Cable management was thought about as well, which is nice. It's not just hanging out there freely. So the throttle, yeah, nice. Big pedal face, really big pedal face. Looks nice, quite identifiable. There's no like left and right or up and down adjustment in that. You know, at this stage, I've spent so much time with VNM products, you could probably send me one of their products without any branding on it, and I'd probably know it's them because they have quite an iconic finish on their products. Looks super high quality. This is interesting here, the way, I mean, it looks very, very, I don't know, very intricate. It's a beautiful design on here. I'm not sure if it serves any purpose having those ridges there, but it's nice. It's nice and detailed. It is a pretty good looking throttle pedal. Now, moving on to the clutch. Again, this has a similar type connection. Those connections all look the same. It has the same bump stop adjustment here. Again, it's very interesting that they've gone, it looks like an elaborate solution for this bump stop adjustment. Whereas, you know, maybe a washer here just with a bolt would be enough, because there's a little groove on the inside where you can slide this blue bar back and forth. So I don't know, is that a design thing or how, you know, how they've come up with that, but it is cool. I like it. Same little feet at the front, and at the back we've got this angle adjustment here as well. Again, one side is quite loose, the other is quite rigid. This shows the clutch, the kind of that cantilever type mechanism. Again, beautifully designed. There's a spring on this. You can adjust the preload, got some bearings in there. You can adjust the height of the pedal here. I forgot to say that about the throttle. You can adjust the height here. So even though you don't have adjustment on the pedal face itself, you've got height adjustment here. You don't have any left and right adjustment. So interesting to note, but of course, because they're individual pedals, you can mount these on a pedal plate and you can go left and right as much as you like there. They've gone for the same kind of grooved design on here. Again, that looks really nice. Everything looks very designed and very thought out. Can I even push that here? Oh yeah, there's a bit of... Okay, so scratch my desk there. It's okay. There's a good bit of resistance on that. You can see here that this is quite a complex design here. We've got 3 bolts holding these arms in place. I'm not 100% sure if that is, you know, I guess it gives you ultimate adjustability here because you can really control how that throw happens. So that is, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, you can change those, and obviously as you change this or put this at a different height, the point at which you get that cantilever effect is completely different. It really looks thought out. I bet they've done a lot of testing with this because yeah, there seem to be a lot of very conscious decisions there. You can't adjust the pedal face, as I say, but you can raise it up and down at the back here on the pedal arm. Again, machining, absolutely beautiful. They're actually quite nice to look at as well. And here is the magic. Okay, this one has the logo on it. So you can see here, the VNM logo, not lit up like on some of the other devices. But, well, as far as I know, no, it doesn't look like it's lit up. And we have a 200 kg Maven load cell, similar to what we see on a lot of other products. We've got our elastomers here with a small kind of a, not necessarily a cup system because they don't hit. So these elastomers will continue to deform. There is a spring at the start, so that is similar to what we see in some pedal sets these days, where it tries to simulate that little bit of space between the pad and the rotor. I'm not 100% sure whether I like that. I don't mind it if it already begins to register during that phase, but if that's just the dead zone, it's like a little bit of wasted space for me, wasted time, and I don't want to spend my time just, you know, simulating that when it makes me slower because it costs time. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm sure you'll be able to actually tune that out as well, because it looks like there's a ton of adjustability on here. A huge brake pedal face, as you can see here. If we do put it beside the throttle and the clutch, let's just put them in the correct order here. We can see that is a nice big, there, 3 of them are very nice big pedals. Now I like this about the SimForce pedal set that we had in before, and I noted that like some of the Acetec pedals were a little bit small potentially for some people's liking. So this gives you a nice ability to heel toe and stuff like that. In theory, I'm sure that some people will argue that pedal faces can be too big as well. I do like quite a big pedal face. So again, very consistent in the design. They've gone for the blue bump stop. These pedals will mount directly to my base plate on my SimLab P1X. They do, however, not have a foot plate with them as standard. That is an extra, and I have been sent one of those. So let's just grab that and pull that out of the box. Let's put these pedals over here to the side so we can have a quick look at this here. Let's grab the knife. I'm not sure if this is the final packaging for this, but we'll see. What else is in here? Okay, it seems like there's quite a lot in here. This is the base plate itself. You can see there's quite a lot in this box. I'll go through those items one by one. This is the actual base plate itself. Here we go. So this sits in front of the pedals. Oh yes, I've seen this all right in the photos. There's extra profile here as well, so that allows you to raise and lower this heel plate, which is excellent as well. We have some extra bits and pieces here. It looks like there's an adjustable damper here. I'm not 100% sure if these are got shock absorber bits and pieces. I'm not actually 100% sure if these are part of the kit or if these are extra bits that they've sent me. I need to go and investigate that. But you'll see anyway during the assembly if I use those bits and pieces or not. It's got a bag of like some of those little winged T-slot nuts here. As far as I can see, all we need to do with the pedals is hook up this here. It's got a run mode and a DFU mode. I'm sure DFU is just for configuration. We've got USB here. This is a lovely little machined box as well. Just very, very tidy, very VNM. It's beautiful to see, and we've got all of our inputs here. So it does show the handbrake as an input here as well, which is quite cool. Right now my handbrake is a USB handbrake, but it would be pretty cool if running these long term that you could actually plug the handbrake into this as well. No option to plug the shifter into this. It could save you some space on your rig if you could. That shifter is still completely standalone. Out of all the units that I've had that have a little control box like this is by far the nicest control box that I've seen. Not that you're gonna put this on show or whatever, but these little details show that they're really kind of taking stuff like that into account. On a lot of other pedal sets that I do, I often get comments about the little boxes just looking like a basic Android board, or you know, like there's not much effort put into them. It seems like VNM have been reading those comments, because this is a beautiful little piece of kit. It's going to be hidden on my rig, but I appreciate that they did it. So the next step is to get all of this assembled and put on my rig, and then we'll take it for a first drive and give you my first impressions.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch.
So here we are in the rig. I've got the pedals set up. They were actually, once they're built, they're very easy to set up the rig here. I've set them up with the bolts in the slots at the side. That allows for a little bit of forward and back movement. But you could, in theory, just use 90-degree brackets that you get with a rig like this as well. If you wanted to, because there are two aluminium profile bars that run horizontally as well. So yeah, initial impressions. The clutch it's a little bit light. I haven't adjusted it at all, but and you can probably see on the screen a little bit better, the actual mechanism is quite nice, so that feels good. Yeah, very nice feeling clutch. I'm going to try and get a little bit more weight into that. Not too heavy though, but it just feels slightly light for me right now. The throttle I already felt by hand, and I did have a cheeky little sit in the rig before I started this video, because like that throttle is just too light for me. In its default configuration, I always run every pedal set. Those of you who are familiar with the channel, I always run every pedal set in its default configuration from the factory first. That is because I believe that you get a pedal set, or you get any product, as the manufacturer intends you to use it. And it's a good indication of where they feel their product is at. When stuff is light, I generally feel that it's kind of aimed at a lower end market. That is a vast generalization, because I know plenty of people who are very fast and used to high end equipment that run low force feedback, that run, you know, low resistance on gear shifters or on pedals. But in general, the closer you get to real race car driving, the more forces are involved. That's just a general rule of thumb, vast generalization. Feel free to disagree with me, but that's the way I feel about it. And I like to run things relatively heavy, not crazy heavy, but relatively heavy. Anyway, enough of that. The throttle, the brake, sorry, the throttle and the clutch now feel quite good. Clutch is in default configuration. The throttle has a little bit of added weight. All I did was raise that bar slightly and adjust the preload. So that's good. The throw is still quite long on that throttle, but I'll get used to it. The brake has a decent feel. It does feel nice. One thing that I did notice, and again, I sat into this before, so I just wanted to make sure that nothing was gonna, come loose during this video. But a problem that I have is this. So when I press really hard, so I'm used to kind of, pretty high-end pedal sets. What's happening here is in this default configuration, when I press too hard, so this is about the hardest you can press. When you press too hard, those elastomers actually deform, they collapse, and it gives an awful clunk, and it's going to wear over time. What a lot of products do is they put that little cup system in place that prevents the elastomer from deforming. This is what can happen if it deforms. Now, I do have a brake performance kit that I'm going to use in the future. This is just a first impressions video. It is not a review by any means, so don't treat it like a review. So in that kit, there are other elastomers, there are springs, stuff like that. There's even a damper kit that I'm going to install in the future as well, just to see how it actually differs. But to get a good baseline, I want to use the pedals in their default configuration, because otherwise I'm just diving straight in and I don't have a good a good grasp of what the actual differences are. So just the one thing that I'm going to have to be aware of is that I just don't brake too hard. I have awful fears of, coming down to, I don't know, turn 1 in Nürburgring and just slamming the brake too hard and deforming those elastomers. But I just have to calibrate it to the point where, because it does, in general, it feels quite good. There's a spring that gives you an initial little bit of travel, like that whole, pads to the rotor type of feel. I hope that does register some input, because that's very handy for trail braking and the like. Feels decent. I'll have to see how it, because sitting at a brake like this is all well and good, but it's not until you're in game that you actually know. So let's download the software and let's get it calibrated. Okay, so here we are in the software. The first thing that we can see that looks a little bit framey. I'm not sure if it's the refresh rate of the application or if it's actually the resolution of the coder for the brake, or the sensitivity of that. I'm not sure. That's something that we'll only be able to realize in. It seems to just go up in blocks. Not sure. If I remember back with this very same software, I don't have the handbrake installed right now. When I pulled the handbrake, it's like really, really crisp with that load cell. So this isn't as crisp, but let's not read into it too much. Enable throttle, enable brake. How do I calibrate that? I know there's a manual, but I want it to be. Oh, here we go. Brake. Okay. This is a lot more like the. Okay, so it does. Oh no, not in steps. I thought it was snapping to those lines. It seems a lot smoother now in that graph. So I'm pressing that pedal. Seems a hell of a lot smoother in that graph. What I want to do, can I just up this? Like, what if I put 160? Set that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's much more like it. Right. 165. That's probably a little bit close. No, that's pretty okay. Oh, where's it gone? Seems to. I put 165, but it seems to have gone now. It's back to 65, but it does seem roughly where I want it, so that's good. And the clutch. Not too worried about the clutch right now. That's registering 0 to 100. Yeah, we need to set a minimum on the brake here. See some of that there's blue bar registering. Let's just, I don't know, let's just set that to 3000. Is that too much? That not enough. Let's set it to I don't know, it's be 15,000 or so. That might be a little bit too much. Again, I'm just going off what I find intuitive. We want to set this as low as possible without having a blue mark on the bar. Let's get that down again. Let's go 8,000. Set. No blue bar. 6,000. Set. No blue bar. Okay, interesting. Oh, there's a slight blue bar at 6,000. Set at 7,000. Don't have any blue bar in there now. Yeah, and it's registering. The second I put my foot on that, it's registering that in. So this is what I want for my trail braking, and then this is what I want for my hard. Interesting. And that jumps back. Not sure why that. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Oh, okay. There is an automatic calibration. Finished. Yeah, that's roughly where I had it. Okay, so I could have sworn I pressed that calibrate button already. That's my lower end. Okay, let's switch to the throttle. Calibrate. Doesn't show you any input as you're calibrating. Finish. Okay, that's pretty good. Set a graph as well. Clutch, calibrate. And okay, cool. All right, everything seems to be calibrated. That should be us done with the software here. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Seems to be registering just a slight bit of input. See if the brake is doing. That's registering some input as well. Okay, it seemed like there was nothing in the software itself. For now, I'm just gonna up that minimum limit here so that that gray bar slightly higher. I don't see it on the throttle now anymore. Definitely still on the brake. Let's just set a tiny minimum here. % on the brake as well. Okay, let's go here. Full throttle appears to be registering just fine. Okay, decent brake feel. Reasonable amount of confidence. Yeah, as I get towards the kind of the end, the heavier part, it does start to lose definition, or it starts to lose variation. So I wonder, is that just a limitation of the elastomers? Maybe the elastomers are kind of going beyond their effective range, because as I showed earlier, they can deform, which is a bit of a pain, especially if you're used to having a fairly heavy brake pedal. But all in all, feels good. I can't wait to spend a bit more time with them. For now, yeah, that feels decent. I like the size of the pedal faces, especially if you're a little bit more of a casual driver. The pedal faces like this with socks are just a dream. They're really nice to use. A little bit off the apex. Decent throttle control. I'd like it. I think I'd like the throttle even heavier than what I have right now. Didn't need to brake in that corner. Yeah, I'm quite conscious now of just pressing that pedal too hard. So I realized I saw at a glance there I wasn't actually even pressing the brake 100%. Again, didn't press it 100% there. Close to 100%. But that's just, but all that is I've just calibrated it slightly too high, but that's fine. That's just a minor calibration issue. During panicky braking like that, pretty easy to control. Again, you're leaning heavily on the force feedback there. Yeah, I'd like the throttle to be a little bit heavier. I'm curious to try that damper system, because the throttle does return quite quickly. I'd like for it to be slightly slower on the return, slightly smoother, maybe easier to control, maybe a slightly heavier setting with what I have right now might help that. Yes, a slightly heavier pedal might help that. Yeah, it's quite nice there. I'm still not hitting that 100% on the braking, but that's just a familiarity thing. These are my first impressions, so I just want to make sure that I get a decent feel for the pedals, that they're registering okay. They seem pretty smooth. That's a little bit late on the brakes. They seem pretty smooth in game. I can get quite a good quite a good definition on them. Oh, that's way too fast. I can get quite a good definition on them. I couldn't get too much of that smoothness or that confidence-inspiring smoothness within the calibrator itself. But as I press it here, it seems to be nice and smooth. So that's not a worry for me. So far so good. They feel like they could be quite good. They actually feel quite similar to the SimForge pedals. I'm not 100% sure why that is. It could be because of the big pedal faces. It could be because of the raised base plate for my heels, the raised heel plate. It could be just because they remind me visually of the SimForge pedal. Not 100% sure, but over the coming weeks, I'm going to really get to... But over the coming weeks... So all in all, they feel quite good. I have lots of adjustment and lots of things that I plan to adjust at some stage, but for now I want to run them in as close to default setup as I can. As I say, the throttle is the only one that I've really paid some attention to. The brake and the clutch are exactly as they were from the factory. The heel plate is in its highest form, and the driving position is quite nice. So I quite like that. I'm happy enough with that. The big pedal faces are very sock friendly, so if you race with socks, I highly recommend just massive pedal faces. Really help. They help with heel toe, they help with just even being able to, if you're in a GT car, you can just space your feet slightly further apart without necessarily having to move your pedals, without having to move the space between the pedals. So that's really nice. The construction, the machining, everything is exactly what I've come to expect from VNM, so I'm happy with that. The elastomers deforming is something that I'm not very happy about. I want to see maybe a cup system in there. There are stronger elastomers that they've recommended that I use. I have them in a kit, but I want to get as authentic an experience as a real buyer might have. So I'm going to run it in this configuration for now. If you have any questions, do ask in the comments below. If you need measurements, anything like that, give me a shout in the comments, or hop into Discord, or join me on my live streams. Every Tuesday and Thursday I'll be using these pedals for the coming weeks. And if you have anything that pops into your head, feel free to drop into Discord or into my streams and ask me. For now, I'm Lawrence. Thanks a million for watching. I'll chat to you later.